Welcome back, Reason Addicts! Today, we're breaking down why the return of a champion, Arcane Season 2, is destined to be better than the prequel nobody asked for, Dune Prophecy. One is the follow-up to a certified masterpiece, the other has to explain space magic for 10 hours. Let's get into it. Arcane's perfect Season 1 record is an impossible act for any new show to follow. Let's be honest, Arcane Season 1 didn't just stick the landing, it broke the sound barrier on its way down. A flawless 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, a primetime Emmy, and a clean sweep at the Annies. It's not just a show, it's a critical monolith. Now along comes Dune Prophecy, a brand new series with the unenviable task of following that. It's like an open mic comedian being told to go on right after a legendary stand-up special was filmed. The bar isn't just high, it's in orbit around Arrakis. Arcane Season 2 is building upon a foundation of certified genius and universal acclaim. Prophecy has to prove it even deserves to be in the same conversation. One is a victory lap, the other is a desperate sprint uphill. Fortiche's groundbreaking animation makes live action look dated and boring. Fortiche didn't just animate Arcane, they hand-painted a moving Renaissance masterpiece. Every frame is a symphony of motion, light, and raw emotion that live action can only dream of capturing. While Dune Prophecy will undoubtedly spend millions on CGI and sand-colored sets, it's still fundamentally constrained by reality. Its people in costumes. Arcane, however, is pure, unadulterated vision. The frantic energy of a Zaunite shimmer freak, the subtle sorrow in Vander's eyes. These are moments sculpted by artists, not limited by a camera lens. The show's unique blend of 2D and 3D animation creates a living, breathing world that feels more visceral and timeless than any physical set ever could. It's the difference between looking at a photograph and stepping into a painting. One is a record, the other is an experience. All right, pause the debate. We've laid out our case, but now it's your turn. Drop your most savage, brilliant, or hilarious reason why Arcane Season 2 already has this in the bag. The absolute best arguments might just get immortalized in a future user's edition. Don't hold back, we're judging. Vi and Jinx's story is a cultural touchstone. Prophecy's characters are complete unknowns. The bond and tragic schism between Vi and Jinx is the emotional reactor core of modern television. Their story of love, loss, and trauma has launched a million fan theories, artworks, and tear-filled reaction videos. We are deeply, personally invested. We've seen their childhood joy and their devastating separation. Now, who are the leads of Dune Prophecy, Valia, and Tula Harkonnen? For the vast majority of audiences, these names mean absolutely nothing. Arcane Season 2 is revisiting a relationship that already has a vice grip on our hearts. Prophecy is asking us to care about a new family drama we have zero connection to. It's the difference between waiting for the next chapter of a book you love and being handed a dense textbook you're required to read. Arcane elevated video game lore into high art, while Prophecy is just another prequel. For decades, the video game adaptation was a synonym for cinematic disaster. Arcane shattered that curse, transforming the established lore of League of Legends into a poignant, universally acclaimed drama that stands on its own. It's a masterclass in adaptation, taking source material and elevating it. Dune Prophecy, on the other hand, is a prequel. Its entire purpose is to fill in the blanks, to connect the dots of a story we already know the outcome of. It's a work of narrative archaeology, not creation. Arcane took a world and built a Shakespearean tragedy inside it. Prophecy is taking a universe and writing its encyclopedia entry. One is a revolutionary act of storytelling, the other is glorified franchise maintenance. Season 2 has the creative freedom of a proven masterpiece, not the constraints of a franchise prequel. The creative team behind Arcane earned the rarest thing in television, a blank check of trust. After delivering a perfect season, they are now completely unleashed. They don't have to set up a future movie, appease a focus group, or meticulously adhere to someone else's pre-written destiny. They can take Vi and Jinx's story to its most brutal, beautiful, and logical conclusion, no matter how shocking. Dune Prophecy, however, is shackled by its own purpose. As a prequel, its ending is already written. It must carefully color inside the lines, ensuring every plot point aligns with the established canon. This isn't true creation, it's narrative reverse engineering. Arcane is free to create a masterpiece, while Prophecy is just tasked with filling in a timeline. The Hextech art style is iconic. Dune's aesthetic is already defined and less surprising. Arcane's visual identity is a breathtaking fusion of Art Deco elegance and punk rock grit. The gleaming gold and blue of Piltover's Hextech stands in stark, gorgeous contrast to the neon-scarred industrial chaos of Zaun. This isn't just a background, it's a character in itself, a visual language that screams class warfare and broken dreams. It is instantly, irrevocably iconic. Now, what about Dune? We know the aesthetic. It's sand, spice, and brutalist concrete spaceships. It's epic, certainly, but it's a palette we've seen before, defined by both novels and blockbuster films. Dune. Prophecy can render it beautifully, but it can't surprise us with it. Arcane offers a world we had never seen before, while Prophecy offers a beautifully rendered version of a desert we already know. The emotional cliffhanger of Season 1 guarantees a more powerful payoff than any origin story. Arcane's final scene wasn't just a cliffhanger, it was a nuke of pure emotional devastation. Jinx, fully unhinged, fires a Hextech rocket at the Piltover Council, declaring war and seemingly shattering any hope of reconciliation with Vi. The credits roll and the audience is left breathless, holding the emotional fallout of that one perfect shot. The anticipation for Season 2 isn't about learning facts, it's about experiencing the consequences. Dune. Prophecy, as an origin story, lacks this tension. We know the Bene Gesserit will be formed. We know House Harkonnen will rise. We are waiting for exposition, not catharsis. Arcane is primed to deliver an emotional supernova, while Prophecy is set to deliver a history lesson. It's not even a fair fight. Arcane's narrative is a tight, focused masterpiece. Prophecy risks getting lost in dense lore. The genius of Arcane is its laser focus. While set in a massive world, the story is an intimate, gut-wrenching tale of two sisters torn apart by ideology, class, and trauma. Every character, every subplot, serves this central emotional conflict. It's a perfectly crafted narrative machine. Dune. Prophecy, by its very nature, is about the sprawling genesis of a galactic political and religious institution. It has to juggle ancient bloodlines, political maneuvering across planets, and the esoteric origins of the Bene Gesserit sisterhood. The risk of getting bogged down in dense, exposition-heavy is immense. While Arcane pulls you in with heart, Prophecy threatens to push you away with a textbook's worth of universe building. One is a character study, the other is a history exam. The soundtrack for Arcane is already legendary and will only get better. Music in Arcane isn't just background noise, it's a core narrative driver. From the iconic theme Enemy by Imagine Dragons to the haunting melodies that underscore Jinx's descent into madness, the soundtrack is a character in its own right. It's a curated, genre-blending masterpiece that lives on millions of playlists long after the credits roll. The show's ability to integrate artists like Sting, Pusha T, and Denzel Curry into its world is unparalleled. This set a ridiculously high bar. Dune. Prophecy will likely have a grand, orchestral Hans Zimmer-esque score, which is fine, but predictable. It will be epic wallpaper. Arcane's soundtrack is an event, a cultural statement that amplifies every emotional beat. Season 2 isn't just a new story, it's a whole new album. Arcane redefined what television animation could be, setting a standard Prophecy can't reach. Before Arcane, mainstream Western television animation was largely the domain of kids' cartoons and adult comedies. Serious, emotionally complex, adult-oriented animated drama was a niche at best. Arcane kicked the door down. It proved unequivocally that animation could be the most powerful, beautiful, and narratively sophisticated medium on television, period. It was a paradigm shift. Now Dune, Prophecy comes along as a traditional live-action series, which, by comparison, feels almost quaint. It's playing in a sandbox that has existed for a century. Arcane didn't just play in the sandbox, it fused the sand into glass and built a cathedral. It's not about which story is better. It's that Arcane is operating on a higher artistic plane that live action simply can't access. Arcane became an instant cultural phenomenon, a lightning-in-a-bottle event Prophecy can only dream of. Arcane's release wasn't just a premiere, it was a cultural detonation. It dominated social media, spawned a torrent of fan art and cosplay, and brought hardcore gamers and prestige TV snobs together in a rare moment of unified awe. It was a word-of-mouth sensation that felt organic, explosive, and genuinely special. This kind of spontaneous cultural combustion is impossible to manufacture. Dune Prophecy, backed by a massive franchise and a calculated marketing campaign, will certainly have viewership, but it's arriving as a planned corporate event, an extension of a known product. It's a scheduled brand deposit. Arcane felt like a revolution that came out of nowhere. One is hoping to be a hit, the other already changed the game. The passionate, established Arcane fanbase will create a bigger cultural moment. The Arcane fanbase isn't just large, it's a creative and analytical powerhouse. For 3 years, they have dissected every frame, theorized about every plot thread, and kept the show alive through an incredible outpouring of art, fiction, and discussion. They are primed and ready to launch Season 2 into the stratosphere. When the new season drops, it will be met with an explosion of engagement that money simply can't buy. The Dune fandom is dedicated, but also fractured across books, films, and games. The Prophecy audience is yet to be built. Arcane S2 is dropping a match into a prepared powder keg of fan passion. Prophecy is trying to build the keg and find the powder at the same time. The immediate cultural impact will be no contest. Anticipation for Arcane S2 is pure hype. Anticipation for Prophecy is riddled with skepticism. The conversation around Arcane Season 2 is one of pure, unadulterated excitement. The only question on anyone's mind is how will they possibly top perfection? It's a dialogue of trust and high expectations built on a flawless track record. The buzz is electric. Conversely, the discourse around Dune, Prophecy is cautious at best. It's plagued by questions about its troubled production, multiple showrunner changes, and recasting. People are asking, will this even be good? And can it possibly live up to the Villeneuve films? One show is eagerly awaited as the return of a champion, a guaranteed masterpiece. The other is being eyed with suspicion, a risky proposition that has to prove it's not a soulless cash grab. Hype versus hope is an easy win for hype. A focused, character-driven sequel will always be more compelling than a sprawling political origin story. Great stories connect on a human level. Arcane Season 2 promises a deeper dive into the shattered relationship between Vi and Jinx, a conflict rooted in love, guilt, and misunderstanding. It's a personal, emotional story that uses a fantasy world as its backdrop. This is storytelling at its most potent. Dune Prophecy, however, is about the founding of an interstellar political institution. While it will have characters, its primary function is to explain the origins of the Bene Gesserit. It's a story about systems, not souls. It's lore first, character second. Audiences will always connect more deeply with the tragic fate of two sisters they've come to love than they will with the bureaucratic formation of a space nunnery, no matter how cool the costumes are. Animation allows for a visual spectacle and emotional expression that live action can't capture. Live action is bound by the laws of physics and the limitations of the human face. Animation is bound by nothing but imagination. Fortiche's artists can push, pull, and distort reality to externalize a character's internal state. Jinx's chaotic mental breakdowns aren't just acted, they are visually manifested in jagged scribbles and glitching frames. Vi's rage isn't just a facial expression, it's in the impossible force of her punches and the kinetic energy of her movement. Dune. Prophecy can use CGI to create sandworms, but it can't use it to paint a character's soul directly onto the screen. Arcane uses its medium to achieve a level of emotional and visual storytelling that is simply impossible for a camera to replicate, making for a richer, more potent experience. Arcane felt completely new and revolutionary, while Prophecy is inevitably standing in the shadow of giants. When Arcane premiered, it felt like a bolt from the blue. It didn't feel like anything else on television. The art style, the narrative maturity, the seamless blend of genres, it was a truly singular and revolutionary viewing experience. It set its own standard. Dune Prophecy, however, doesn't get that luxury. It arrives carrying the immense weight of Frank Herbert's legendary novels, Lynch's cult classic, and Denis Villeneuve's critically acclaimed modern blockbusters. It cannot and will not be judged on its own merits. Every scene, every performance, every design choice will be relentlessly compared to what came before. Arcane Season 2 gets to build on its own revolutionary foundation, while Prophecy is forced to build its house in the long, imposing shadow of masterpieces. Prophecy has the impossible task of living up to Villeneuve's films. Arcane only has to live up to itself. Denis Villeneuve's Dune films are cinematic events, visual and auditory marvels of a scale rarely seen. They have defined the modern look and feel of Arrakis for an entire generation. Now, Dune Prophecy, a television series, has to exist in that same universe. No matter how high its budget, it simply cannot compete with the sheer cinematic scale and artistic prowess of Villeneuve's vision. It is doomed to look like the smaller, less epic cousin. Arcane, on the other hand, created its own universe and its own aesthetic standard. The only thing Arcane Season 2 has to live up to is the bar it set for itself. It competes in its own weight class, heavyweight champion, while Prophecy is forced into a title match it can't possibly win. Arcane's themes of sisterhood and inequality are more universally resonant than Arcane's space politics. At its core, Arcane is a story about the devastating chasm between the haves and the have-nots, and the heartbreaking fracture of a family caught in the middle. These are themes that resonate deeply with almost anyone, anywhere. The pain of a sibling relationship falling apart, the rage of systemic injustice, the desperation of fighting for a better life. It's primal, powerful stuff. Dune Prophecy, meanwhile, is about the Machiavellian maneuvering of interstellar noble houses and the esoteric origins of a secretive eugenics program. While fascinating for hardcore sci-fi fans, it's a far more niche and intellectually dense premise. Arcane speaks directly to the heart with universal truths, while Prophecy speaks to the head with complex art always wins. The consistent creative team behind Arcane guarantees quality, whereas Prophecy has had a troubled production history. Stability breeds quality. Arcane Season 2 is being crafted by the exact same core creative team, Christian Linka, Alex Yee, and the wizards at Fortiche, that delivered the flawless first season. They have a proven Emmy-winning chemistry and a unified vision for the story's conclusion. This is the definition of a safe bet. Dune Prophecy, on the other hand, has been a revolving door of talent. It has cycled through multiple showrunners, lost its original lead actress, and faced significant production delays. This kind of turmoil is a massive red flag in television production. It signals a lack of clear vision and potential behind-the-scenes chaos. Arcane is a finely tuned orchestra returning for an encore, while Prophecy is a band that fired its lead singer and bassist mid-tour. Season 2 is the closing chapter of an era-defining story, giving it more narrative weight. There's a unique power and poignancy to a final chapter. Arcane Season 2 has been confirmed as the conclusion of Vi and Jinx's story. This isn't just another installment, it's the end of an era. Every moment will be imbued with the weight of finality. Stakes will be permanent, decisions irreversible. This creates a level of narrative tension and emotional investment that an open-ended origin story can't match. Dune Prophecy is a beginning. Its purpose is to set up a universe we already know exists. It's an opening paragraph. Arcane Season 2 is the final, heart-wrenching sentence of a beloved novel. Knowing the end is near makes every word, every frame, infinitely more precious and impactful. It's the difference between a prologue and an elegy. Arcane simply has a magic and soul that a lore-expanding prequel can never replicate. You can't quantify it, but you can feel it. Arcane possesses a soul. It's in the way light hits a tear-streaked face, the raw passion in the voice acting, and the palpable love for the characters that radiates from every frame. It's a work of profound artistic passion. Dune Prophecy, for all the talent involved, is an exercise in franchise management. Its primary goal is to expand the Dune IP, fill in lore gaps, and provide content for a streaming service. It's a product born from a boardroom decision. Arcane is a masterpiece born from an artist's vision. One is calculated world building, the other is lightning in a bottle. You can build a perfect machine to explain a universe, but you can't engineer a soul. And that's the final word. Thanks for watching us state the obvious with style. If you have a 20-second reason that we missed, drop that fire in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next takedown. Until then, remember our motto: 21 reasons why. Epic debates, legendary comments.